The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Soldier. So, on page 9, we get introduced to midnight. And I just love this part. Excuse my allergies. I'm in the botanical gardens and yeah, it's spring. So, as busy as they kept me, there was midnight. I guess he got that name because midnight was about the only thing blacker than him. He was one of my father's workers. He was real serious like my father. He always looked like he was thinking deep thoughts and had a lot on his mind. I figured maybe he had a plan to take over the world. I liked that because he would need to take over the world to win me. He smiled. He never smiled. He didn't joke around like other niggas in our age group. He did his pickups and delivery like clockwork. My father once referred to him as a strong young lieutenant. Santiago liked him because he said he never tried to test or flex. He knew Santiago was the boss, and he was comfortable and cool with that. Midnight never attempted to skim, pay late, or run games, like some guys did when they first start out. I liked Midnight for other reasons too. In the summertime, he wore white when he played basketball. His mother, whoever washed his clothes, must have been more handy than them happy homemakers on the TV commercial, because his shit was crisp. But what really got me was that black skin. It was smooth and perfect. It laid on top of his bone structure tight like saran wrap. His arms were cut. I could tell he lifted weights. But he wasn't big and swole like these little dick assholes in the magazines. He was tall, yet medium-sized and perfect. His muscles were defined, his veins stuck out, emphasizing his strength. His neck was slim and strong. He would come to the park only on Sundays. I know, because I was clocking him like that. He would be wearing a new sweatsuit every time. He held his money in a gold money clip. He would take the money clip with the money neatly stacked out of his sweatpants pocket. He'd take off his pants, stripping down to the basketball shorts he had on underneath. His powerful legs were as cut as his upper body. For this, I gave him mad respect. I can't tell you how many guys I've seen with a strong upper bodies and then them chicken legs. He would put that money clip on the inside of his basketball shorts and play ball. My eyes would move in and out of his structure. I couldn't wait to put my lips against his skin and maybe suck on his collarbone or something to make the package complete. Midnight's kicks were always new and clean. Now, Midnight never paid me no mind. I wasn't worried though. I wasn't worried about it though, because one thing I learned from my mother is that a bad bitch gets what she wants if she works her shit right. Pops also taught me something useful about patience. He said sometimes the victory is sweeter when it takes a long time to carry out the plan, and you catch the person completely off guard. What I was up against was the fact that Midnight worked for my pops. So even if he ever considered me, he probably ruled me out. He was 5 years older than me, so he might have also considered me jailbait. The worst thing about it was I couldn't tell either way. You know how they say a person's face is a dead giveaway? Well, Midnight was the opposite. His face seemed serious all the time. His reactions just didn't show up. Even when he plays ball, he didn't trash talk like other niggas. He didn't even react when they tried to mess with him. He just seemed focused on the basket, made his moves, scored his jumpers, and didn't even smile when he won. At first, to get his attention, I did regular things like rocking my shirts extra mini, shortening my already short shorts, sporting my halter tops, and little cute metallic bras. As I got sexier, he went from looking at me almost never to never looking at me at all. While in his presence, or at least when I was in the same park he was in watching him play ball, I would try to get his attention by acting mad. I'd suck my teeth, roll my eyes at him, still nothing. So I decided to make him a long shot project. Meanwhile, I had my own fun stuff going on. I would let niggas take me to the movies, or should I say, I went to the movies with my girlfriends and I met niggas there, not wanting to ruffle Santiago's feathers by bringing a worthless nigga home. Sometimes we would just chill at my girl Natalie's apartment. Her mom was never home, so we had free run of the place. Getting my first sugar daddy was no problem. His name was Sterling. I met him in Lower Manhattan at a grocery market when I sat in to get some chapstick on a fickle autumn morning. I guess my style just overwhelmed him, because instead of reaching into the cash register and giving me my damn change, his eyes slid between my breasts like he wished he could be one of my gold chains. I recognized him immediately as a sucker, somebody I could take for all he had. All his thoughts showed on his face. It was clear that I had his full attention as I gave him a blast of ghetto attitude. I put my hands on my hips saying, "My money or your life?" He started staring. He looked startled, stopped staring, and counted out my change. I laughed. "Do you need your receipt?" he asked with his with his enthusiastic, corny ass trying to prolong the conversation. "If that's all you have to offer," I said with a serious look and sparkle of sexiness. He gave me my money and cleared his throat. Turned from the register with his cheap white dress shirt and $2 high and followed me as I walked towards the door. I guess he had it like that. He could walk away from the register because he was a store manager. "So what's your name?" he asked, looking like he thought he could actually make some progress with me. "Winter," I said, rolling my eyes with disinterest. "You live around here?" "Brooklyn, baby, no doubt." The rest is history. He got paid every 2 weeks and so did I. He worked at the store and I worked on him. I had him buying me shit he couldn't afford. We ate at places he never knew existed. Whatever little money he took home and pay, I took my 25% like I was his freaking agent or something. It worked out smooth. Him living in Manhattan and Santiago, out of Santiago's eyesight. Besides, the little piece of cash he provided meant a new outfit, an extra gold bangle to my collection, whatever. Like my mom says, you can never have too much. Santiago shook up what was supposed to be my sweet 16th with shocking news. We were all around the table. My chocolate Baskin-Robbins ice cream cake was bombarded with small nuts and 16 carefully placed maraschino, I don't know why I can't say it, cherries. Daddy handed me a long, slim box. The kind I like because it almost always needs jewelry. I tore off the gold wrapping paper and smiled widely as I lifted my new diamond tennis bracelet off the clean white cotton. My mother's mouth hung open as she inspected my diamonds from across the table. Even though she knew better, she was confirming that they were white, clear, and sparkled like diamonds, not cubic zirconia. As I put the bracelet on, Santiago handed me a birthday card. This was unusual because we weren't big on cards and poetry and shit like that in the family. As I fumbled with the catch on my bracelet, my mom opened the card, suspecting, I guess, that there must be some birthday money in it or something. She probably figured that if I got cash in addition to this bracelet, Santiago had gone overboard again and would need a talking to later. As she opened the card, 2 Polaroid snapshots fell out onto the table. She picked it up, twisted up her face with curiosity and said, "Baby, what is this?" "It's our new house in Long Island," Daddy said, coolly with pride and confidence. "I wanted to surprise everybody, and I figured today was as good as any day. We're moving. First class, baby. Only the best. Top shelf for my ladies in life." I was feeling crazy. The gold candles on my cake melted away, and so did my dreams under the pressure of the flickering fire. All I knew was the projects. It was where my friends, family, and all my great adventures were. I knew these streets like I knew the curves of my own body. I was the princess of these alleyways, back staircases, and whatnot. What was the point of moving? Santiago said you gotta move, said you gotta live. Santiago always said you gotta live where business is to avoid a hostile takeover. He said that a man's gotta carry a powerful presence in his neighborhood so the small time stinkers didn't start itching with takeover fever. Now, it was like we were cutting out. So I did something that I normally would not do. I questioned Santiago. Why? What's the point? Why are we about to do something that you said we would never do? Santiago simply said, "Baby girl, Things is on a new level. It was cool to rest my head here in the past, but my business is bigger and better than ever. I can't let them get too familiar with the routine. I gotta switch up, keep them guessing. Me, Mama, and Porsche were all seated stiff and silent. The babies didn't know what the fuck was going on. Surprise swirled around. He continued. Everyone could handle my success. Everyone can't handle my success. Eventually, some fool will snap out of order and try to bring it to me by hurting one of my girls. His long finger pointed at us. His eyes locked into each of our eyes individually. He was making good sense, but I was still vexed. I figured, yeah, sounds good and all, but I'm not done with the idea of running from a fight. I'm not down with the idea of running from a fight. It's just straight up not Santiago style. Santiago picked up on my expression quickly and said, now, you know I don't run from no war. I'll take on anybody who wants to bring it to me. But what I'm not having is nobody fucking with my ladies. If they want war, let it be man to man and only the men. It seemed like Santiago knew something he wasn't telling us. He was dead serious, and I knew that his statements were coming from somewhere. This place, he added, holding up the picture, his finger pointing out to the man, his finger pointing out the mansion. This is a safe place. Man, wait till you see it. Shit is laid out so nice, it's like heaven. The rules for our move out of Brooklyn were clear and non-negotiable. Don't talk about it. We knew no matter how silent we were, there would still be chatter. My mother's brothers and sisters and their husbands and boyfriends, who all work for Papa, would definitely have something to say. That didn't matter. Santiago said, I'll take care of everything. Just don't add to it. In my last few days, everything was moving like a slow motion film. Shit that stank more. Anything sweet seemed even sweeter. I spent all my extra time with my girls. We were mad tight. Many of us born and raised in the same spot. Take me and Natalie, for instance. We did everything together. We even got our cherries bursted together and lied to each other about how good the first time felt. And when the truth was, those dicks ripped our tight little 12-year-old tunnels apart. We fought over whose dates were finer, even though Jamal and Jacob were twins. But I knew Jamal was cuter because he had a fine black mole on his right cheek, and that shit was sexy. Natalie said Jamal was the one who made my titties grow. Cause after me and him started getting down, I went from flat-chested to all eyes on me. When my girl Tosha had I'm gonna stop right here because people talking, messing up my reading.